This is soft skills session, and it's very abstract topic, the relation between daily work and teaching and MCT. It's an open debate that is, let's say, it's very old debate. Is teaching related to what you do, or can you speak what you do? And for this reason, I just thought it would be cool to speak with other mates about this topic. And I really like this session not to be just a presenter session, but also a debate. What do you think about your opinions, about your experiences? Of course, I will share my experiences. I will share my cases throughout these 10 years in technology. But before continuing, I'd really like to thank all sponsors that made this summit possible. I really like to say big thank you to all sponsors. What we will talk. First question that I'd like, let's say, to have an approach. Is best idea just to teach without doing anything else, even without sleeping? No. Even, let's say, without working? Or is the best idea just to concentrate on teaching and nothing else? Of course, to be up to date, of course, to maintain your knowledge in that technology or in that area that you're speaking. Or is best to combine? Let's say, to spend some time in that field that you're speaking and to speak a little bit, to test yourself if you understood good that topic, to test, let's say, your social skills, to test your presenting skills, also to test yourself. And as I explained at the beginning of this talk, the idea is to open a debate. While we all are here MCTs, we all, let's say, lectured at least one course per year, as Karen said, I hope. And what's your opinions? What, let's say, comparing to my experiences, and can we compare our experiences, and can we have, let's say, an open debate about this topic? When I was forced to put session level, I said, oh my God, what session level should I put? Because it's very abstract topic. I put 300 because it's an abstract topic, but maybe it's not it's not such, let's say level. Just few words about me. I consider myself as a developer. I do a lot of development in my daily work. I am very, let's say, obsessed in C#. But while I traveled in a lot of technologies, from databases to end user experience technologies, I consider myself more, let's say, a software architect. I was lucky to work with databases starting from SQL Server 2000 till 2012. I built web services, I developed some client applications, I worked in public sector and in private sector. This was made possible because I'm coming from the newest state in the world, Kosovo. In the last summit, thank you. In the last summit, I think in Amsterdam summit, when my flag was appeared, nobody knew that. And I said, oh my God, if I would have chance to present in summit in next years, I'll put, I'm coming from Kosovo. And we have, let's say, less than 15 years after the war, but the country is progressing well. I'm very active in Twitter. I do tweet a lot, mainly in English, but also in my language, my native language, Albanian. I'm also let's say, actively blogging, mainly about technology or my opinions or solving specific problem in my WordPress blog, betimdrenica.wordpress.com. What was the motive of this talk? It's very interesting sentence I saw somewhere in the internet. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's very interesting. And we can read together. Theory is when you know everything, but nothing works. Maybe it's not true, but it's a sentence that motivated me to think about it, to start this topic, to talk about this topic. Practice is when everything works, but no one knows why. And in our lab, we combine both practice, theory, and practice. Let's say nothing works and no one knows why. Maybe it's not true for both parts of this sentence. It's not true for practice, it's not true for theory, but it was interesting, let's say, to think. And let's say I have a personal story. It's a very interesting story, and I read from time to time about it. Around 6 or I think 8 years ago, my company, I was working for won a tender in public sector for some Microsoft trainings. We were at that time part of MPN, Microsoft Partner Network, and but the number of students that were coming from government was high, and one trainer couldn't fit them all, and we were, let's say, separated in 2 classes. One class was that trainer who was coming even from, let's say, university with a very good background, academic background, but mainly spending his time in teaching. And I was coming from field experience. I was doing programming at that time in the company. I was not MCT. Sorry, Karen is not here. Yes, good. But yeah, we did it. And the courses were in SQL Server. At that time, I was sleeping with SQL Server. I still remember I could, let's say, you can just say a SQL message, and I could say, hey, this message is in this severity level, coming from this part of the problem, because I really loved that. I was a kind of geek, spending all the time thinking for databases, doing optimizations, mainly database development. And I really enjoyed my course. I really, let's say, put my all passion in that course. And at the end of the course, we were having the same course, but in different classes. I was having best score, or better score than my colleague. You can imagine, I was 20 years old, and my colleague was more than 30 years old, or in mid-30s. Not at old, but comparing, let's say, comparing with me as a kid, 15 years difference, with that background, let's say background from academia, with a master degree in computer science. And I was forced to ask myself, why? Why this happened? It wasn't happen that I was a genius. I was geek, but not genius. Maybe somebody can say, okay, you have more social skills. Maybe it's okay. Okay. Passion. It's a part of the story, passion. It's a part of the story, but it's not the main idea, or not related to our session. The main idea is that I was working every single day with that technology that I was speaking. Even without starting, let's say, even without completing their question, I understood their problem. I said, oh my God, did you attend this way? Yes, we attend. Where do you know? No, I don't know. I wasn't in your environment. But I know the problem, because I had the problem just few weeks ago, few days ago. But okay, let's say I learned myself. I used to learn myself how to explain simply. This is the topic of next slides. But the main idea was that I was coming from experience. I was speaking for something that I am doing regularly, even, let's say, 20 hours per day. And this was great. My colleague was good. I really think he was very well prepared for the course and stuff like that. But he has not, let's say, he has my experience. He used to develop databases, of course, with all definitions, third form of normalizations, and tables, and columns, and naming, and stuff like that. But not mine. And this is the motive of let's say, of this talk. Is it better to combine, or is it better just to teach? Still, let's say, when we are having coffee with that colleague, we let's say, remind this story. We remember this story. And he also agreed that I was coming mainly from experience, with some social skills, but not not. I don't know your idea. I don't know your thinking in this way. I don't know if you have the same story, but this story, let's say, just is a kind of motive to start this topic. And what are general thoughts about the topic? As every debate, there are two groups. It's very easy to say, pro and contra. There are, with all people I talked here yesterday and today, they said, I agree with you, I don't agree with you in this point, but this is good. This is the beauty of this topic, because we are combining experience, and we will try to gain from, let's say, from each other, from best experiences of each other. And first group that is thinking that there is no, I mean, always there is a relation, but there is no strict relation between what you do and what you speak. They argument their way of thinking using these paragraphs. Maybe there are more, but I just, let's say, I just found this. Teaching is a born gift, is a talent. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But it's not mainly the born talent. Because there are some very old proverbs that they are saying, word did human what it is. We are seeing the progress in all development fields. And okay, you could have some talents, but if you don't develop that talent, you could stay on that level. There are some mysterious stories about Einstein that he was, let's say, not good pupil when he was in school or stuff like that, or he started to talk from 9, or I don't know if they are true or not, but we can't say that, let's say, we can say, or they argue their point, their way of thinking with that sentence, teaching is born talent, is gift, or teaching is art. Yes, I agree, teaching is art. As everything else. We can say also programming is art. System administration is art. In every piece of what you're doing is art. But it's not the problem that it is or it's not. It's the problem, how do you interpret that art? We all, let's say, know the languages, but not all of us are let's say, people who write poetries. All poetries we read, poems we read, are written in the same language as we speak. But it's just different of combination of words. And there is an art. I still remember, let's say, my problem with remembering things some years ago. But I was reading a book that, let's say, changed my mind, shifts my mind in different direction. The author wrote in that book, every single number, even the largest number you can read, is made by 10 numbers, 0 to 9. The difference is just in combinations. And from that time, I could remember numbers. Because I thought, oh my God, this is a long number, I can't remember. But having this idea in mind that every, or the longest number is made just by 10 numbers, 0 to 9, changed my way of thinking. And the other argument is teaching needs all dedication. No other work, no other thing. Just dedicate in teaching. Yes, you need dedication. It's true, you need dedication. But if you don't have what to speak, if you don't have, let's say, experience from field, don't know, let's see. And the other group, that they are thinking that there is a very, let's say, tight relation between what you do and what you speak. They argue that their way of thinking with tech is all about practice. You practice, you say it's working. You don't practice, you can't say it's working. You can say, but you can't prove that it's working. And if you don't practice, you don't know it. I don't know, let's say, if you have any other fact or argument on this. I don't know where you position yourself. But, okay, my thoughts. Let's say my thoughts are both. No, they aren't. Teaching is a born talent. I really think that if you want to be a good teacher, you have to have some sense of teaching, some sense of sharing, I can say. It's not, let's say, good teacher, even that author who writes book. He is not presenting to you, let's say, we all read books, at least mine. But let's say I always see a good book, let's say, a better book, and the best book for a specific topic. And this is strictly dependent to the author in the way he wrote, in the way he was thinking, at that way that he wrote the book. And it's a kind of born talent. But also teaching is a work in progress. Let's say we constantly evolve as a humankind, as, let's say, a way of getting information, a way of distributing information. Teaching, my personal thinking, is strictly related with your daily work. I personally think you can teach whatever you want, but to be a good teacher is strictly related to what you do. If you do system administration, let's go down in the field, you can be a good teacher in system administration. If you do a programming, you can be good, let's say, programmer's teacher. A techie person, my personal point of view is, must split time between work and teaching, even for fun. Even for fun. Okay, I'm not, let's say, working for any CPLS, I'm not doing, let's say, lecturing for a specific course. Grab a friend. Go out for a coffee. Try to explain something. Because when you explain to somebody something, you know if you are understanding or not. There is a sentence, maybe I will use it earlier, is, if you can't understand it simply, you simply don't understand it. So, if you don't teach somebody, let's say you are not in that level that you think you are. Okay, you can say, hey, Betim, there are a lot of good programmers, but they can't speak. Nah, don't agree completely with you. For Anders Hejlsberg, it's one of the greatest programmer in Microsoft. But when you see his talkings are wonderful, are the art. Or you can, let's say, just mention names, because they combine their experience with teaching. And this is my thoughts. I don't know about yours, but we are, let's say, going to take some comparisons with arguments. I just thought to take software development life cycle, but in very simplified version, not in MSF style. I think you remember Microsoft Solution Framework. And it was a good joke of my friend that if you want to finish your project as fast as you want, try to adopt MSF. But at the end, you will have your software in papers, not in practice, not in code, because it was a lot of phases and stuff like that. And I'll try, let's say, to take a kind of simplified version of software in comparison with teaching, with a course. And also, I'll share some personal experience. What I learned from work, time management. I don't know if you agree, but almost every software, it's not done in time. Do you remember Vista? Windows Vista? It was, let's say, first announced in January. After that, it came February, and a lot of months changed. It's a software. It's not done in time. Or if you will ask, hey, are you going to finish your work at the time you wrote? Come on, buddy, it's software. There are always some bugs. So, but you can ask freely, what's the relation between students? Let's say between teaching and this. There is a strict relation. Because you can start some topic, but try to manage your time. Because you can expand your talking, let's say, without any limitation. But the course have a time. And always you have something to add. For example, but try to simplify things. Try to manage your course in times. Always I had problems with times, with, let's say, time management, especially in courses. Because I wanted to explain a lot to my students, to, let's say, to people who were attending the course. But I forgot that there is a time. I forgot that maybe they don't have the same passion as I have. I forgot that maybe they are not interested for such large information that I was distributed. And there were a lot of other factors that I didn't take in consideration. And I was bad with time. And I said, nah, we will do something for the next version. We are not going to put every single feature that we could put in this version of software. Let's do something for the next version. It's the same with course. If you will try to explain as much as you can, as much information as you have personally, you will lose your next course. For this reason are levels. And never, never, never is perfect. Perfect is never-ending story, I can say. You have always to perfect your thing, your work, your way of expressing things, but it's very well to plan proactively. But don't spend your whole time in planning, as it was in MSF. We were in vision phase, in planning phase, in that phase. Hey, we will develop something. We don't need all these material. I still remember let's say, my first and last project in MSF. We produced a book like this, but software was with a lot of bugs. Because we're trying, let's say, okay, you can say, but maybe you didn't understand correctly that way of doing software? No, I don't think. But there were some, let's say, very exaggerated phases. We didn't plan proactively. We didn't plan our time. And MSF said, you have to spend, let's say, 40% of your time in planning. Oh my God, 40% in your plan. Yes, it's okay. It's good to plan. But if you don't have time, let's say, if you don't have a proactively plan to manage your time, you can just lose yourself. Make things simple. This is a sentence I said before. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. I always try to challenge myself and people I talk. Can you explain to a 4-year child in a very simple way, in that way that the child can understand concurrency and parallel programming? Come on. It's a very good challenge. I thought a lot about this. And I thought, okay, if I would have a 4-year child in front of me, I would say, imagine you have, let's say, 2 sisters, twins. They are the same. They are not coming from, let's say, polyzygote, or what was that in genetics. I'm not saying these words to that child, but just to explain. And imagine if I have a chocolate. They are 10 meters from me. I will call them in the same way, let's say, with the same message. Come and get the chocolate. They have the same power, just to mention. They have the same characteristics, because they are twins. They come, it's at least theoretically, they will come in the same time. They will try to get the chocolate. This is the concurrency. This is the parallel programming. Nothing else. 2 or more things are trying to get the same resource in the same time with the same power. Or, for example, can you explain all transacts equal in less than 1 minute? All. Nah, it's a very big language. Microsoft is working throughout all years to make this language perfect. How can you explain in less than 1 minute? Yes, you can. Imagine a table with 3 columns. 1 column, first column. You can, let's say, you can start your stopwatch and testing. First column is data definition language, let's say DDL. Second, DCL. And third one, DML. And if you want, let's say, to combine with these columns, you can have some objects. Let's mention, let's say, a table. And a table could be created, controlled, and manipulated. And in creation, or create, alter, drop. In definition, and in control are grant, revoke, and deny. And in manipulation is select, insert, update, delete. Every single object you can put through these concepts. You see, In less than 1 minute, you explain the whole language. This is strictly related with what you know. If you don't know, you could, let's say you could learn the best didactics of the world in teaching, in way of interacting. But if you don't know this information, you can't explain it simply. And you see, a table could be created, altered, or dropped. Could be, let's say, could execute a grant permission on that table to select, or revoke, or deny. And you can select, or insert, or update, or delete from that table in less than 1 minute. You don't need anything else. Okay, there are a lot of details that are in between, but this is a challenge that you could, let's say, take. Complex things are made simple. I was watching in the same room George's session from yesterday, and that security tool that, let's say, read the hash from computer memory. What George said? George is not here. What said? They are very talented guys. Why? If you, let's say, will take the challenge, what you will do? I will rehash. Simple way. It's hashed, I will go in the other way. Reverse engineering stuff. They didn't took that way. They went in other way. They just read in memory, and it was best way. It was easiest way to access. It is the most complex thing, but the easiest one, because approach matters. They approach to that problem in very, very different way. Almost every software developer or software engineer should think to rehash that. It's hashed, okay, we will rehash and get that text. And after that, to go and come and make things complex and trying to know algorithms that are used and stuff. Nah, don't take it. Just go to read in memory. It's a very simple way. Let's continue. Know your end client. Know your students. Oh, there are some very, let's say, a friend of mine said that Excel will not function in shopping mall cashier. Imagine that girl who is working there and you will, let's say, you want to pay 3 chocolates. Go to Excel, make that formula, sum and stuff like that. Oh my God, how much you will pay? No. You have a simple software with big buttons, just pay and nothing else. Build what's needed, not what you can. And be specific. Still remember a very interesting project that I was working a lot, I think for almost a year. It was a finance application. And one of clients came to our company and said, I need a finance application. But we thought, the management of the company thought, if we do for this client, why we will not try to generalize it for somebody else, for some other clients? And we weren't specific. If we would finish, let's say, just the request by that client, we could finish that on time, I'm sure. But we spent the whole year trying to generalize things, try to fill the request by the client, and stuff like that, and at the end we were not good with the client, we were not good with the general market. If you try, let's say, if you don't know your students, you can say, let's say, you can take any other example. Again, I want to be back to that SQL story. One of the courses, one of my colleagues was not in work, and the company asked me to continue that course. I read the book, I read the title of the course, I knew very well the technology, it was a kind of high availability in SQL server. And I was in that class, in the middle of the course, starting to talk about clustering, very interesting topic. Let's say I put my all passion as always. Hey, you know, you have 2 servers, you need to put them up and running always with these 9s, with 10 9s, with that. I was seeing almost everybody was sleeping. I said, oh my God, it's happening something, maybe I'm not good. Maybe. And I started, but I saw that the audience was in totally different level. my colleague didn't do his job. They were lacking in very simple things in SQL. And I was going to the highest, let's say, most advanced course in SQL Server, talking with mirroring, for log shipping, for clustering. They were just sleeping. They said, oh my God, I'm not interested in that topic. And what I did, I turned off my projector. Let's say I turned off that PowerPoint slide. I started something basic. They enjoyed the course, the other part of the course. I started from tools. You can't imagine, but it happened. It happened to me. And because I was there, and do you know, we were honestly talking in coffees, and they said, oh my God, I thought, what's this stupid teacher that wants to let's say, to teach us something that it's not understandable. It wasn't their fault for this way of thinking. It was my fault for the way of talking. But it was a lack of knowing who was in front of me. And separate product in versions. Don't try to explain it everything, because you can't. Okay, that sample, that feedback. As Seth said in, let's say, yesterday's session, it's very crucial to take feedback from students very early, even in first hour. The same as needs to happen with software. You can develop the most complex software in the world with hundreds of tons of calculations. But if you don't get, if you, let's say, can't get feedback early, if your users can't adopt that, you're dead. Your mission is not accomplished. And it's very crucial to implement that feedback. I told you the finance application story. Let's say we didn't get feedback from our client. And what happened? He said, no, I just don't need this software. I need more specific software. Because we were out of direction. We tried to implement something that, okay, it was general, it was good for the general market, but not specific for that client. He was thinking, or he was waiting to accept something else and prepare for reactions. I said to you, let's say, I have experience in my class that said, you are thinking that you're smart, one of the students. I said, oh my God, what's happening? No, I don't think. I think I am, but no, I don't express it. I think, don't try to be exaggerated in the same way as client could react. Nah, this is shitty software. You worked for the whole year. You spent all that time, all that money paying developers, testing hours, and a lot others, and the client at the end said, no, I don't need that. It's good, I don't need that. Or, for example, I had experience from students, I really like the way you explain things, but I don't need that in my work. I need something else. We were in a course, we were in a programming course. He has some, let's say, some problems in grids or whatever. I explained the way of manipulating data. It was okay, but he has other problems. I thought I needed to change the direction, to shift to different way of explaining things, to be concentrated in different other things. Great products, it's not easy. And also to be a great teacher is not easy. I was thinking to develop a very simple application for mobiles. I think you need a software to start your day with just two functionalities. It will display 3 random quotes from a tweet source and 3 random pictures from a tweet source. It's cool, okay, while you're having coffee in the morning, just to read 3 inspiring quotes and see 3 pictures. It's okay. I had the source and stuff like that, and I thought it's small one, it's good one, you can develop just one day. But when I started, it was an interesting story. It wasn't such easy, because I have to thought for connection, for Wi-Fi, if it's in edge, if it's blah, if it's that data, what will happen if data are not coming, what will happen if has internet, but you can't get data, how to explain that error and stuff like that. It wasn't such easy as I thought in the first thing. Also, you as a teacher, you can say, it's easy to explain something, but did you challenge yourself in trying to explain that thing? When you will pause that challenge, you will say it's easy. Before, let's say I tried to use these challenges or concurrency programming or T-SQL in less than 1 minute. I failed. I failed too many times because I started to say, hey, you know, SQL is structured query language and T-SQL is dialect of Microsoft. Nah, I failed. I spent 1 minute just in introduction, what is the topic? And teaching is a challenge. Products evolve. I don't know, Karen said that I started to touch things when I was 20 or older. I see some kids, even in airports, that are starting to touch things even when they are 2 or when they just start their life. This is a kind of evolve. You can't say to that kid when he is 5, you can say, you know, it's a computer, it's something. Nah, you can go straight to the topic. You can go straight to the topic. Because we evolved as humankind. Even as teacher, let's say you have to adopt new ways. Before having a first course online, I thought it's easy to explain, to speak without any audience. Because till then, I just talked physically, let's say in real life. But when first day was nightmare of that online course. Let's say, I'll try to be very honest with you, it was nightmare. Why? Because I thought I'm speaking with just by myself. It was different. We evolved. Let's say I was MCT and I taught courses for 4 years, but I wasn't having the chance to teach online without any audience, with the way of thinking that I'm speaking by myself. And I said, oh my God, I'm dummy. Are they hearing? I'm just speaking with myself. No, you're not speaking. But there is an audience, but it's not just in front of you. You can't see their reactions. You can't see, and you have to adopt your way of explaining things. You have, let's say, always to ask, did you understood this? I'm going fast. Or not? When you have in front of you, you will see their faces. You will easily find who is not, let's say, happy with the course. Easily. When you don't have them in front of you, you'll have to ask. Explicitly you have to ask, am I going fast? Is this okay for you? Do I have to change something? Are you hearing me? For example, because I was thinking that nobody is hearing me. Nobody's hearing me. Because there was no audience. So it was, let's say, and the other, let's say, also there is an opposite. In this way of evolving things, you have to evolve. You have to live fast. We live fast. Let's say, and we have to learn things fast. For example, since I was a kid, I watch all videos in 2 times speed. Yeah, you can laugh. You can easily laugh. Because when I was, let's say, when I was in school, I wanted to be, let's say, before my friends. And I thought, oh my God, can I find a way to let's say, to watch the same video, but faster than them? And I started to practice. I used, let's say, to have as a normal thing. Now I can watch videos in the same way as the others watch. Because I learned to do that. I used my brain to do that. Also lately I'm trying to let's say, to do some techniques to read faster. And for this reason, I did a post. I did a blog post. I don't know if I have internet, no. But you can go to my blog post that what are the techniques I use to read faster and to watch things faster. For example, there were some great people who were able to read a book before going to sleep. It's astonishing, but it happened. And it's very, very simple and explaining process. You can just turn off that something that is called vocabularization, non-repeating things, and you can read faster. And do you know that, let's say, a normal person could read with 150 words per minute? WPM is a unit measure. And with some very simple techniques, you can, let's say, make it better, till to 300. For example, now I am in 400 words per minute, with just practicing some simple techniques. But this is a sign of evolve. We have to evolve in getting information and giving information. And a small wrap up. This is never-ending topic. We will always, always have pro and contra. But my personal way of thinking, it's not such strictly. These numbers are not strictly, hey, I did 60%, I will go out to 40%. But I think that half-half, it's good, let's say, to be in a field that you will try to speak, and to speak, to test yourself if you understood it, if you understood it, if you understood these concepts that you will speak. Stay up to date in first part. Learn, practice, and prove in second part. And repeat this process. If you want to be, let's say, a good teacher, and don't forget, put the passion. But don't split the passion. Put the passion in it. I hope I put some passion in this presentation, and I will thank you for being here.